Hey guys, welcome back to JXT Productions. You all read the title. Today we are going to be ranking every episode of The Amazing World of Gumball Season 4 from the worst to the best. There's not much else to say, so let's get started. Number 40, The Girlfriend. Oh boy, I am about to give all I got to this episode. This episode starts off with this.
It's lunchtime. That is not what I asked. Not in the mood for banana.
Potato, please, can have.
And it doesn't get better from there. In this episode, Jamie realizes that she wants a sweetheart, and since Darwin is the only one who doesn't immediately evacuate after hearing this, Jamie is Darwin's new girlfriend, which goes about as well as you would expect.
I got you a present to celebrate our love. My present to you is a present from me. I've given you the gift of giving. Now hand it over! Perfume? Are you saying I smell bad? Just darn it!
So, a big problem with this episode is Jamie. Jamie is probably my least favorite Gumball character. Whenever this thing is on screen, I get annoyed.
Can we get some privacy? We're having a romantic meal here. Look, if you don't get out of here, there will be serious consequences involving you, me, an electric fan, and a pair of dice.
So how long has this been going on?
No one asked for your opinion, you frozen freak!
But another big problem with this episode is how Darwin handles this situation.
It's okay. I'll just ride out the storm and say nothing. Her problem is that she doesn't understand love, so the best thing to do is to wait quietly until she works it out for herself.
That is horrible. I don't know much about relationships, but even I can tell you that that is the exact opposite of what you should do. And throughout this entire episode, I was 100% on Gumball's side. He was constantly telling Darwin that he needed to do something about this and not just sit there letting it happen. But when Darwin finally does do something, Jamie sends him to the hospital and Gumball says this.
You know, dude, all you had to do was keep your mouth shut and say nothing.
So there you go. I guess this episode made Gumball unlikable too. Okay. As much as I don't like this episode, I gotta give credit where it's due. There are some funny parts.
Hey, Jamie, if a coconut has both hair and milk, why isn't it classified as a mammal?
Number 39, The Sale. Why do Gumball and Darwin have this weird obsession with Mr. Robinson? It didn't work in Season 1, and it certainly does not work here. It might work a little better if they ever explained it, but they never do. Although I will admit, even though I think this episode is bad, the song is pretty hilarious. Number 38, The Wicked. To me, this is nothing but a bland episode with a couple of good jokes. I'll be honest, I don't dislike Mrs. Robinson as a character, but I don't really like her either. Number 37, The Traitor. This episode is also pretty mediocre. Gumball and Darwin are unlikable at times, but there are some parts that make me laugh a lot.
Looks like this balloon's cover is blown.
Number 36, The Crew. Again, this episode is pretty mediocre. There's some good jokes, there's some not so good jokes, it's just very okay overall. Number 35, The Misunderstandings. I think that this episode is decent, but it does suffer a little bit because a lot of it feels like filler. Number 34, The Detective. I think this episode is good. It plays out a lot like a detective movie while still being Gumball, and it's always great when Gumball does stuff like this. Number 33, The Love. This episode's also pretty good. It's got some pretty hilarious moments. Also a couple parts that didn't quite do it for me, but a good episode nonetheless. Number 32, The Apprentice. This episode is hilarious. Gumball and Penny's dad definitely get into some interesting situations together. Number 31, The Others. When I first saw this episode, I thought it was just kind of okay. But after rewatching it many times, I think it's pretty great. This episode introduces us to Claire, who, I'll admit, is a pretty forgettable character. But besides that, this episode is hilarious, and I would definitely recommend it. Number 30, The Upgrade. Honestly, this is a pretty accurate portrayal of what happens when a new phone or computer comes out. Number 29, The Parking. Now, if I told you that there was an episode of Gumball where the Wattersons try and find a parking space for 11 minutes, you'd probably think that would be incredibly boring. Well, no, I actually think this episode's really good. Number 28, The Pest. This is a really great episode, but the best part has gotta be Gumball and Billy's fight.
Well, if I'm gonna get my butt kicked, I wanna know why!
Your vastly inferior fighting skills may have something to do with it.
Number 27, The Awkwardness. Although it's my least favorite out of the Gumball and Hot Dog Guy episodes, it's an episode with Gumball and Hot Dog Guy. Of course it's hilarious. Number 26, The Parasite. I think that most people who have trouble making friends can relate to this episode at least a little bit. I mean, there's a reason I say a little bit, but you know. Number 25, The Origins Part 2, and number 24, The Origins. Okay, yeah, I know a lot of people are gonna hate how low I put these, but hey, this just proves how many great episodes Gumball has. These are both fantastic episodes. They told Darwin's origin story in probably the best way they could. And I mean, look at baby Darwin. Tell me he's not adorable. Number 23, The Nest. Honestly, I'm glad that they did another episode with the evil turtle. They very easily could have just done one, and we wouldn't have gotten this really awesome episode. Number 22, The Roots. This is a really great episode, but I gotta say, the scene with the parrot, top notch. Number 21, The Advice. Whenever Mr. Small is in an episode, he's pretty much guaranteed to get a laugh out of me. Number 20, The Routine. And here we have the story of the pink rabbit on his quest to get mayonnaise for burger night. On his horse, I mean car. If a non-Gumball fan heard that, they'd probably be like,
What?
but for Gumball fans, they'd probably be like, Number 19, The Uploads. It's fun to see basically Elmore's version of YouTube. And the jokes about the saxophone chihuahua, again, top notch. Number 18, The Slap. I'm gonna be honest, this is one of the most ridiculous episodes of the show, but I'd be lying if I said it wasn't absolutely hilarious. Number 17, The Nemesis. Rob is definitely one of my top 3 favorite Gumball characters. His story from a forgettable background character to being the main villain of the show is awesome and hilarious. Number 16, The Compilation. This is a fantastic episode, but the best part is definitely the Weird Like You and Me song. I mean, it's definitely one of Gumball's best.
And everybody is weird like you and me. Weird like you and me.
Number 15, The Night. Seeing the dreams of everybody in Elmore is something I never knew that I wanted. Then again, a show about a blue cat and his adopted goldfish brother is something I never knew I wanted either. And now we have Gumball, so I guess that's just how life works. Number 14, The Signal. Gumball loves to break the fourth wall. They didn't do it as much in the earlier episodes, but as the series went on, they started to do it all the time. And in this episode, they full-on acknowledge that they are in a TV show. And it's as hilarious as it sounds. Number 13, The Fury. I know there's a lot of people who would probably put this episode a lot higher, but again, this just proves how many great episodes Gumball has. Because this is a fantastic episode with definitely a pretty interesting backstory between Nicole and Yugi. And the anime fight scene is pretty cool. And also kind of hilarious. Number 12, The Check. In addition to being funny and relatable, this episode managed to have one of the best car chases without even having any cars.
Which way's the bank?
Take a left, then it's second right.
Thank you.
Number 11, The Gift. This is another pretty relatable one. We all have that one rich friend who's very hard to get a present for because they just seem to have everything. Number 10, The Comic. This is definitely one of Sarah's best episodes. And if they actually made those Laserheart comics, I would totally buy them. Anybody else with me on that? Number 9, The Return. This was a perfect way to start the season. And it also has some of Richard's best moments.
Don't know what she's worried about. I'm a good father. What do you know?
Elmore Junior High.
Hello, this is my wife speaking.
Whose wife?
Richard? Prepare to jump into hyper! Space? Oh no, the kids have turned into school supplies! Or am I still dreaming? Only one way to find out. I can't fly, so this definitely isn't a dream.
Number 8, The Romantic. I gotta say, Gumball and Penny are probably my favorite TV relationship of all time. So I love a good Gumball and Penny episode. And you gotta love that ending.
And no big gestures.
Of course, of course. Abort! Abort!
Too late.
What do you mean Nothing to do with me. Must be a different Penny. Must be a different Gumball. What are the chances?
Gumball.
Although I will say, how was he able to afford all that? I mean, aren't they broke?
Mom, we're so broke that we give UOMe's to charity.
Yeah, you're right.
Cartoon logic, I guess. Number 7, The Scam. Out of all the Halloween episodes Gumball's made, this one's probably my favorite. I find that I really like it when Gumball, Darwin, and Carrie are together, especially for Halloween episodes like this. Number 6, The Points. This has gotta be one of the funniest episodes of Gumball, especially if you play video games.
Because corn farmers for plebs like to get ripped off spending real money on a virtual pig to go with their windmill. We're playing Gallic Trek, and we're about to buy a virtual space hog to go with our solar generator.
I'm afraid I can't let you do that.
What's that?
My invisible shock rifle. Remember, I bought all the weapons.
Number 5, The Signature. In my opinion, this is probably the most underrated episode of the show. I think the jokes are some of the funniest the show has come up with.
Come on, Mr. Dad. Try to adopt a different attitude and be happy for Louie.
Dad, try adopt Louie.
No.
Dad,
No.
Dad, adopt Louie!
No, we won't let you become Louie's dad so you have the power to forbid his wedding.
Thanks. I had no idea where I was going with that.
And we finally get to meet Frankie Watterson, aka Richard's dad. Number 4, The Bus. This is probably one of the coolest episodes of Gumball. It's basically an 11-minute action movie. And that twist with Rob at the end, fantastic. Number 3, The Hug. This is how you do cringe humor right. There's a lot of funny episodes in the show, but if I had to pick the funniest, this would probably be it. I mean, is there a single Gumball fan who doesn't remember this episode? Number 2, The Disaster. It's probably no surprise to any of you that this one is pretty high up. It's a fan favorite for sure, and it 100% deserves to be. It's another one of those episodes that really leaves you on the edge of your seat. And it also adds a lot to the main story arc of the show with Rob and the Void. And it's hilarious as well.
This is gonna cost a fortune. Do you think money grows on trees? Oh, I guess it does because it's made of paper. But that's not the point. I'm cutting off your allowance. We're broke enough as it is. I'm so angry I can't think of words, so I'm just gonna make sounds.
And finally, at number 1, The Blame. I debated for a while whether to put The Disaster or The Blame at number 1, but in the end, I went with The Blame. It's an unpopular opinion, but I would consider it my favorite of Season 4. I love the jokes, I love the song, I like the message. I don't know what it is, but something about it just makes it one of my personal favorites of the show. And that's all the episodes. As for this season overall, if you can't tell already, I love it. There were some episodes I didn't like, but most of them were great. I've heard a lot of Gumball fans say that this is the best season of the show, and personally, I wouldn't call it my favorite, but if it's your favorite, I can definitely see why. Season 4 seemed to be a lot more story-based than the previous seasons. It was still mainly episodic, but it did have that whole overarching story with Rob and the Void, and even ended on a cliffhanger. We did see some of this story arc in Season 3, but we got to see a lot more of it this season. And I think that's really awesome. So overall, I'm going to give this season a 9 out of 10, putting it above Season 1 and below Season 2 and 3. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for Season 5, but until then, this is JXD Productions, signing off.